There are so many people who judge me and criticize me. Just only a few are those who truly know me. Art has always been my passion and my life purpose. The best way I have to express who I really am and my sense is through music and fashion. Artistic expression allows me to communicate my thoughts, emotions, and feelings, releasing them through inspiration during the creative processes until I reach the final manifestation of my works and projects. My purpose through art is to share my creativity, my knowledge, my experiences, and my talents to contribute, help, and connect with all those people, brands, and companies that emphasize with my work, my form of expression, always providing the maximum value and those can enjoy, be entertained, and benefit from my work. My main goals as an artist are learning, innovation, and experimentation. Hi, my name is Irene CHC and I'm an artist. My real name is Irene Chamorro Cuesta. I was born in Valladolid, Spain, and my paternal origins are African, and my maternal origins are Spanish. My mother is from León, Spain, and my father from Nigeria. I consider myself a very lucky person thanks to my miscegenation, and I'm really proud of my roots. I'm the daughter of a diplomatic father and a journalist mother. As well as a curious fact, my mother has been the youngest of 13 siblings. My parents met and fell in love in Malabo in the 90s. My father traveled between Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea from his work as ambassador, and my mother, after working for many years at Radio Popular Valladolid and then COPE Madrid, later she was assigned there to Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, as head and main person and boss of a radio cultural project called Africa 2000 by the Spanish Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Spanish Cooperation. Sadly, I couldn't meet my father, but thanks to my mother, the beautiful memory of him I have always kept alive inside me. Concha and Felix Suleiman, my parents, were also able to spend time together in Lagos and Abuja, Nigeria. And the language barrier was never a problem for them. My father's second language was English because he was Nigerian. And my mother has been fluent in this language for so many years ago, thanks to her studies in English philology and especially thanks to her trips to England in the 70s and the United States in the 80s. My parents didn't meet by chance. My birth was predestined and it was predicted. I've been the great living proof of the love they have for each other. I chose Irene CHC as my artistic name because my full name, Irene Chamorro Cuesta, is too long. So I decided to create a third name, easier to write and pronounce. So I just duplicate the N of my name Irene and added the letters CHC, which are the initials of my surnames. I also wanted to add the letters CHC to my stage name as a tribute to my mother's initials. My logo has an heraldic inspiration. and symbolize who I am as an artist and as a person too. It represents my sense and it's the clear reflection of my personality. Each element represents different aspects of my personality. In the center of the logo, you can see an I, which is the initial of my name, Irene. It symbolizes the axis and the structure of the logo. This central I is covered by the initials CHC, the last C inverted, which are the initials of my last names, Chamorro Cuesta. These letters are also the initials of my mother's name, Concha Chamorro. They are symbolizing the heart of the logo. From the letters CHC that symbolize the heart of my logo, born two horns. These two horns represent my strength, my determination, and my capacity to be able to face my fears and the obstacles of my life. The horns also represent my astronomical and astrological sign, Taurus. The logo is supported by winds that symbolize my protection, my potential, and my freedom as an artist and also as a person. Finally, in the highest part of the logo is the star, which is the most important element of my logo and symbolizes my vision, my purpose, my passion, and my destiny. For me, it's very important to have a clear direction and purpose in life, and the star symbolizes that, the light that illuminates my path. This 7-pointed star represents the light that illuminates and protects me all the time. As an artist, I encompass different facets, and I have enjoyed it, all of them a lot. Until now, I've been working as a stylist and fashion consultant for different fashion brands and fashion firms, showrooms, magazines, and particular people. I have also worked as a model for photography and collaborating in different fashion shows. Recently, I have also been able to auditioning for some musicals. But my true passion as an artist is my facet as a singer and songwriter. It's really is what it fills me the most and what allows me to express myself with the greatest strength and fullness. My purpose as an artist is to express and release my thoughts, emotions, feelings, and experiences through music and fashion. The best way I have to communicate who I am and my sense is through my passion, art. The final purpose of my art is to connect with people's emotions. Writing and singing from my own songs make me feel full, happy, and free. Expressing my sense, who I am, who I really am, and being able to connect with people's emotions is the final purpose of my art. I started to sing from a very young age, around 7 years old, but I decided to keep it secret in an unconscious way when I was a child, and more conscious when I was a teenager. I knew that wanting to be an artist in my environment was not going to fit too well, so I decided to protect my dream until now. Every night, I secretly sang in my room in front of the mirror or looking out of my window. It was very fun to me to do it. Like a game, I felt happy. It was my particular way of rehearsing. Since I was a child and a teenager, I had the great facility to learn songs and write melodies and lyrics. I was always aware about it. I've always done it in a natural and spontaneous way. I remember waking in the middle of the night with new sounds and melodies in my head. And at first, I didn't understand what was happening. But over the time, I have understood it. And I have challenged that energy in another way, learning to externalize it through my voice. I also started writing songs since I was a little girl, but I was always more aware of the potential of my voice than of my potential as a songwriter, because as a girl and a teenager, I felt that I still have nothing to say, nothing to transmit. I had not accumulated enough vital experiences to transmit a message through my music. I don't like singing for singing or writing music for just writing. I don't know how to express myself as an artist without having lived the experiences before, to be able to transmit it with more awareness and deepness. That's why I consider that now it's a good time to start my career as a singer and songwriter, because I have enough experiences to be able to express my feelings through my art in a more mature way. I don't have music studies or musical studies. The only music education I had was first in the school and then in the high school. And this type of studies were very basic, very poor, and also very low value formation by the traditional educational system here in Spain. So if I can sing and write songs as I do, it is thanks to my natural innate talent, and thanks to all those nights in which I have been practicing for 20 years in secret. I still have a lot to learn, to explore, and to experience as an artist. So every day I try to improve and grow as an artist, learning and listening to the advices of the musicians and producers who work with me. Music means and has meant everything for me, because it has been next to me and it helped me since I was very little. In my good moments, bad moments, happy moments, sad moments, tough moments, fun moments. Music has always been there, close to me. That's why I feel that I have to return the favor, but not as a follower, but from the other side, now as a singer, songwriter, and a performer. The music genres that have influenced my sound the most are contemporary R&B, new soul, trap, rap, rock, pop, and dancehall. The artists and music genres that have most influenced me, both as a singer and also as a songwriter, have been in contemporary R&B music. My influences are Beyoncé, The Weeknd, Mariah Carey, The Dream, Ciara, Fergie, Lana Del Rey, T-Pain, Neo, Chris Brown, Usher, Diddy Dirty Money, Rico Love, Nicole Scherzinger, Carrie Hilson, Christina Milian, Ashanti, Aaliyah, Cassie, Jamie Foxx, Tory Lanez, Janelle Monáe, Anne Marie, Mariah the Scientist, Akon, and Teyana Taylor. In rock and R&B music, Tina Turner and Jimi Hendrix. In the new soul, my influences are Alicia Keys, John Legend, Toni Braxton, Tamar Braxton, Mary J. Blige, Keisha Cole, Brandy, and K. Michelle. In rap music, I would say Kanye West, Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, Azealia Banks, Jay-Z, Diddy, Busta Rhymes, and Kid Cudi, Trina, Eve, and Lil Kim. In funk music, Black Eyed Peas. In trap music, my influences are Gucci Mane, Future, T.I., and Young Jeezy. In trap music, also Fabio Foreign. In gospel, Sunday Service Choir. In dancehall, Esther Dean, Kat Dahlia, and Party Next Door. Rihanna and Drake. In pop music, I would say Britney Spears, Gwen Stefani, and Adam Lambert and Lady Gaga. In Nigerian music, Davido and Nijola. In British pop, S-Club 7, Rita Ora, and Freddie Mercury. In Russian pop, Tattoo. In glam rock, Tino Casal and Grace Jones. In jazz, Amy Winehouse, Liza Minnelli, and Tony Bennett. In Latin music, Selena Quintanilla and Marc Anthony. In flamenco, Lola Flores. And finally, the producers who influence my sound the most are Timbaland, Noah 47, Sweet Beats, Nacho Cano, Max Martin, Ilangelo, Scott Storch, Germany Dupree, Dr. Dre, Polo Daldon, Disclosure, and will.i.am, Metro Boomin, and David Guetta. For me, music and fashion are totally complementary because the best way I have to express myself verbally is singing and writing songs. And the best way I have to express myself visually is through fashion, either in video clips, photography, or staging. When I want to communicate certain message, an experience, emotion, thought, or feeling, it's always more complete when I mix music and fashion. Clearly for me, music and fashion are the perfect match. My biggest references in fashion design have been Coco Chanel, for being a visionary and breaking with the canons established in her time that were already obsolete, and Virgil Abloh and Olivier Rousteing for understanding that music and fashion in this new era go hand in hand and knowing how to fusion them in a brilliant way. I have also been greatly influenced aesthetically by designers such as Rick Owens and Michelle Lamy, Demna Gvasalia, Alexander Wang, Vera Wang, Alexander McQueen, Henry Alexander Levy, Philip Plein, Riccardo Tizi as creative director of Givenchy, and Galliano as a creative director of Maison Martin Margiela. All of them have inspired me to understand that fashion goes beyond the clothes, and that is the artistic expression of a certain concept based on a philosophy of life and a very determined way of seeing the world. All these designers have a perspective of seeing the reality that surrounds us very much in line with the new era in which we live in, fusing technology and humanism with urban aesthetics, punk aesthetics, and minimalism. In the design of each of their garments and each of their parades, they carry out their nihilistic perspective of reality is reflected, the darkness of the times in which we live in, and therefore the uncertain future we face as a society. My songs are in both English and Spanish, but for me, it's easier singing and writing songs in English because I've been listening to North American music, British music, and Canadian music for 20 years, especially Afro-American music. My ear is habituated to listen to music in English. In fact, I have been able to learn to speak and write this language thanks to music. Although in my music projects there are songs exclusively in English, I always like to incorporate parts in Spanish in my beats. I consider that in this way my songs are more complete because I can also express myself in what is my mother tongue, and this way to make music gives me a very personal touch and a very characteristic sound to my work. I also love to dance, so dance is also for me a fundamental complement to accompany my music. Although, honestly, I prefer to dance without a choreography. Choreography limits me when it comes to interpreting. Sometimes I feel like it tightens me up. And for me, it's very important to be able to express myself in a very free way. Currently, I'm not just working on one music project. I'm working on several music projects. I have been able to write a lot of songs in the last year and a half. So, in my point of view, I cannot include them in just one music project. So, I'm still in the process of structuring and organizing everything to be able to transmit the concept of my work, music project, in the clearest and most direct, entertaining way possible. In these last 2 years, I have felt mentally very calm, serene, with a lot of energy and very inspired, which has allowed me to work clearly on my vision. The writing process has been, and it's been, very cathartic, liberating, and fun as well. I really enjoy the creative processes. Both the melodies and the lyrics of the songs have come out for themselves. My ideas have followed in a very fast and organic way. My music is for everyone, for those people who really connect with what I'm communicating, and all those who really understand my art. When I sing, and especially when I'm writing, I don't think about I'm going to create the song for this particular group of people. No, it doesn't matter what is your language, country, culture, religion, sex, gender, or race. The most important thing for me is that people connect with me in some way. Through my songs, my lyrics, my melodies, my rhythm, or my visuals. My goal is that those people who connect with me, with my art, can say, well, I also lived this experience, or I also felt this emotion, or I'm living the situation, this particular situation right now. Because for me, music has also helped me a lot in that way. Above all, to express and identify my emotions and feelings. As an artist, what was inspires me the most have been my personal experiences. Good experiences, bad experiences, tough experiences, fun experiences, sad experiences. Everything that I've been able to experience this up to now. Everything I've been through. Because in my private life, I'm reserved and I don't express my experiences or feelings, but as an artist, I do. Externalize my experiences and feelings as an artist is something natural for me. People also inspires me a lot. On both friendships and romantic relationships with men and women too. I've also been able to attend shows in Spain by greatest jazz figures such as B.B. King, Salomon Burke, Chick Corea, and Dionne Warwick, among others. And also to several shows by Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Alicia Keys. Madrid has been the most important city for me in recent years. The fact that I have lived in cities such as Madrid and Barcelona, and also have been able to travel to such diverse cities as Lisbon, Prague, Miami, Havana, London, Budapest, Florence, Rome, and Milan, has influenced me a lot to express myself artistically, and it has also helped me to get new linguistic and cultural references. Madrid has been the most important city for me in recent years because here I've been able to discover in a deeper way who I am, and I've been able to define and expand my identity with more intensity, and also what is really what I'm passionate about doing in life. Here in Madrid, I've been working as a stylist and image consultant for a few showrooms, communication, fashion agencies, fashion firms such as Gilles Cavalli, Richemont, Moschino, D Square, Missoni, Maison Martin Margiela, Polka, magazines, Vogue, Elle, Cosmopolitan, Vanity Fair, GQ. I have participated in a styling and image consultancy for professionals inside the entertainment industry and celebrities, singers, models, actors, actresses, fashion events, publicity, theater, TV, cinema, and film festivals, such as Seminci in Valladolid, Vitoria, San Sebastián, Sitges, and Malaga. And for particular people, I've also worked as a model and have auditioned for musicals. So all these professional experiences have allowed me to meet a lot of singers, actors, actresses, makeup artists, journalists, producers, filmmakers, designers, and photographers, from which I have learned a lot and have helped me to grow as an artist and also as a person. I would say that what has inspired me the most about Madrid have been all those people I have been able to meet. People from different countries, cultures, ages, races, languages, to rich people, to people who are also very poor. Madrid inspires me a lot. A lot. I love Madrid. The streets, the buildings, the history, the neighborhoods, the squares, the parks, the lights, the nightlife. In Madrid, I always feel safe, but at the same time, it gives me a lot of freedom, and those two sensations make me feel very happy and very inspired. Here in Madrid, I've been able to reconnect with my life purpose, which is to be an artist. Something that years ago I had sometimes forgotten by listening to the wrong voices and not paying more attention to my inner voice that whispered to me every single night. The fact of having connected with my purpose and with my dream, it has been many changes in my life. Changes from my point of view very positive, which have helped me to grow as a person, to evolve, to mature, and to expand myself to the greatest speed. When I decided to follow my intuitions toward my purpose, I was aware that the price I was going to have to pay was going to be very high. All these changes have led me to make firm and important decisions, and therefore to have to sacrifice and leave behind many things, people, places, habits, and situations of my past that no longer vibrate with my vision and that no longer represents me as a person. The truth is that I feel very proud of my transformation and my evolution, because I feel that thanks to my strength and courage, I've been able to overcome many difficulties, and finally I was able to take my own path, my way in the right direction. In the end, I believe life puts everyone in their place, and my call has been towards music, and I have responded to that call with a great courage, evolution, and hard work. Recently, I was able to audition for Tina, the musical, here in Madrid, Spain. A musical produced by Stage Entertainment, dedicated to music legend Tina Turner, in which her life is told. When my management called me to the audition, I was very excited. For me, it was unexpected, unique, and a very special experience. I really like to get out of my comfort zone and immerse myself in the new challenges all the time. I value my life and my time so much, a lot. So I'm very selective with the environment and the people that I want to surround me. I want people like me by my side, with life purpose, who knows what they want, honest, faithful, and who are passionate about their work. It's very important for me to have a positive and adequate environment for my personal and professional growth, and to keep away toxic people who no longer contribute anything to my life and who are also a negative influence for my evolution. Get out of my face, pathological narcissist. Get out of my face, sociopaths. Get out of my face, psychopaths and psychos who are integrated. And also get out of my face to all those who are the accomplice. Rotten apples must be removed from the basket before they infect the others. The past is the past, so for me, the best is always yet to come. I want to thank all the people and artistic professionals who believe in me as an artist and are working with me on this project that will see the light in the coming years. I also want to warmly thank all my friends. You know who you are, especially Eva, Nayara, Javier, and Isabel, for being with me since I was 3 years old and always being faithful and honest with me, as well as help me in everything I have needed for 25 years. For believing me and value me, both personally and professionally. My personal experience in college, university, was disastrous. It was one of my biggest disappointments, since my environment had spoken very well of it to me. I felt unmotivated and out of place, going to class every day for years and studying subjects that were tough mechanically and then passing on exam didn't motivate me at all. I found myself with a broken and obsolete educational system, not aligned with my personal goals or my life purpose or the new era in which we are living in. So I made myself 100% responsible, and I made the decision to get out of there and not waste any more time. Today, I can say that I'm very happy to have made that decision, and thank goodness I did it. If I hadn't made that decision at that time, I couldn't do what I love now. Life called me, art called me, music called me, and I answered the call with courage, leaving all my past behind. Fortunately, for my previous experience at the high school called Núñez de Arce in Valladolid was much more positive. This passion that I've always had for art, social sciences, humanities, and letters was seen by my teachers of universal literature, history, art history, my teachers of Latin, mythology, Greco-Latin history, and my teachers of geography and philosophy too. Philosophy has also been one of my greatest passions, especially metaphysics, quantum physics, anthropology, and sociology, in which I'm still training through books by the best philosophers and scientists specialized in each of these fields, despite of my university disappointment, by to my rhythm and without having any type of conditioning, applying all this knowledge to improve my life. For most people, philosophy is theoretical, but for me, it's also practical. I practice and apply philosophy, especially the Hermetic laws. I use knowledge to improve my life in every way and achieve my goals, especially in the three master areas of the human being: health and body, money and work, and love and relationships. I believe that the best way to teach philosophy is by example and with the results and accomplishment we achieve in life. My experience at the My Way College of El Magazine in Madrid was also very, very positive. There, I could learn from the best professionals inside the fashion industry in Spain. The person who has influenced me the most as an artist and also as a person has definitely been my mother. My mother is the most important person of my life, and she sacrificed everything for me. As a person, I've learned many values from her: respect, strength, equality, curiosity, discipline, constancy, commitment, passion, purpose, assertiveness, critical thought, solidarity, and empathy. As an artist, the most important value I've learned from her has been the art. The art of communication. My mother, from a young age, always had the talent and the ability to know how to connect with people's emotions. As well, she has very beautiful, deep, and serious voice with a lot of personality. So, for her profession, journalism has not been limited only to writing or speaking or copying and passing news, but to communicate. Talking for the sake of talking is not the same as communicating. My mother has been a genius when it comes to communicating and innovating in her profession. The most important thing for her has been the message that she wants to convey at that certain moment and about certain situation reaches people correctly and not superficially, but rather in a deep way. I want my mother's legacy to stay alive inside me. I would define my music project as innovative, fresh, very personal, and very honest. I am currently working very hard on it, so I will release so many surprises during the next year. From a very young age, around 7 years old, I felt very attracted to music, and I was already aware of my qualities and my talent for singing and writing songs. Although, until now, I have not made it public, keeping it a secret. I kept my talent in secret for a very clear reasons. The fact of having made public my desire to be an artist, singer, or songwriter to my environment, teachers, friends, or family at an early age would have meant the end of my dream. They would have thrown it completely down on me. In the environment that surround me, there have not been no artists. Therefore, this profession has not been understood, and it has not been entirely well seen. So these people would have told me, "You, Irene, what you have to do is study and get good qualifications, then go to college, university, graduate, and look for a serious job. Stop fooling around and thinking about impossible dreams." Firstly, I heard my inner voice, and I did not pay attention to the voices of the others, because these voices of family, friends, and teachers are voices that sometimes can try to protect you, but I felt that they limited me in so many ways. And at that time, I had also to learn to detect and protect myself from the voices of the envy. In addition, the music education that I was able to receive, both in a school and then in high school, was very poor, and it has always been a subject with very low value within the traditional educational system here in Spain. However, I was focusing on subjects that were conventionally considered more important, and in different sports too. The second reason I kept my talent secret was because as a child and a teenager, I didn't have the determination or the vision or the life experiences to able to communicate the message through my music. I don't like making music to be made, because the base of my inspiration when I'm creating are my experiences. When I was 11, I had my first computer and internet access. I was able to discover a new world within the music industry, in which wherever I could immerse myself in discovering, analyzing American, Canadian, and British artists, old school artists, and contemporary artists. I used to research all their lives and analyses of the lyrics, video clips, interviews, and live performances. My mother, in her journalistic beginnings, directed, scripted, and hosted several music programs on the radio. So, on her big bookshelves, still kept many books in English about soul music, jazz, R&B, gospel, and rock and roll. So, luckily, I was able to get accepted. And vinyls. Ramones, Candeal, Barbara Streisand y Donna Summer, Paco de Lucía, Bob Marley, Bee Gees, Las Grecas, Rafaela Carrà, Rafael, AC/DC, Rolling Stones, Elton John, David Bowie, George Benson, Joe Cocker, Bob Dylan, entre otros muchos. Later, my mother contacted among along with other mates and friends of her, linked to the artistic world as Fernando Baliño, Miguel Ángel Pérez Maguil, and Mario Benso, among others, founded what was called the Art Association of Friends of the Jazz in the 80s. This artistic association was in charge of contacting the strongest jazz musicians of the time, the most top, and organizing their shows and the most important sports centers and music clubs and theaters in Valladolid. Among these musicians were Ron Carter, David Letterman, Art Blakey, Dexter Gordon, Miles Davis, and many others. Without a doubt, a totally revolutionary cultural project for those years in Spain. All of this has helped me to understand even better the music I make, since I didn't receive a formal music education. Everything I do is born from my feelings in an innate, free, natural, and organic way. I believe that when you have a dream and a purpose in life, you have to save it and protect it until you feel ready with the clear ideas to carry it out and make it public. Currently, I feel fully prepared to start my career as a singer and songwriter and a performer. I have a clear vision of how I want to express myself as an artist and what I want to communicate through my art. Of course, I'm still having a lot of things to learn, to test, to experiment. At last, I feel like this is the moment, my moment to do it, because I kept enough experiences inside me to be able to send a clear message through my music. and therefore to be able to liberate all those feelings, emotions, and thoughts that I believed in these recent years. My philosophy is summarized in: the perfect time to start something doesn't exist. So how I know if I'm prepared or not to do something? My answer is: I prepare myself during the way. I just do it, period. And it is because every breakdown and every mistake I make are the way to my final success. And you, are you also prepared for what is coming? From the bottom of my heart, I hope you follow me on this journey. Behind me, I don't have any company, group, lobby group, religious group, sect, person, organization, or institution that dictates me the way. I am the only creative thinking, the visionary, and the mastermind of all my works and projects. My art is free.